Live. Alright, are we live? I believe we are live. Why does it keep giving me chop chat? I want live chat. Anyway, good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened to date throughout the annals of recorded history. Join us as we delve into yesteryear. Why do we have this? And not only for interesting, important happenings, but to possibly even answer questions you do not know you have. The sources of this information come from the Smart Device application, Today in History, What Happened Today in History, Historical Calendar, and the website onthisday.com. For links to these sources and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar of the description below. And of course, everything gathered throughout the show will be posted post-live stream, of course, as per usual. Anyway, I am Aoxander, and you, of course, are the viewer. And I want to, well, let's see here. Today is, Thursday, aka Thursday, November 30th, 2023. And before we start, I want to go over some breaking news from yesterday. Henry Kissinger, at the age of 100, died yesterday. So that happened. That's pretty crazy. So take that how you will, because I know some people are going to be on one side of the fence and some people are going to be on the other. I'm not going to say which side I'm on, but yeah, like, this is some pretty big news. Anyway, let's jump into the history today, shall we? Stop talking about current news and start talking about some old news. 722, Pope Gregory II named Boniface as missionary bishop. Alright. Then we're moving on up to the year 1016. Canute the Great, Canute, what a name, king of Denmark, claimed the English throne after the death of Edmund Ironside. I wonder why he was called Ironside. I've known about Burnside. This guy go around wearing iron or something constantly? I mean, they did wear, like, suits of armor and whatnot. So that's interesting. 1431, we have the first chapter of the Order of the Golden Fleece, established by Philip the Good in 1430, just 1 year prior, met at St. Pierre's Collegiate Church in Lille, Duchy of Burgundy. And what is this Order of the Golden Fleece? We've looked this up before on the show numerous times, but I'm still... Okay, it is a Catholic order of chivalry founded in Bruges by Philip the Good. By the way, In Bruges is a good movie. Go give that a watch. In 1430 to celebrate his marriage to Isabella of Portugal. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's a whole thing around his marriage. Kind of sort of akin to the start of Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest! But yeah, so the Order of the Golden Fleece. Alright, so already got a link for for further reading if you do so wish. We have 1487, speaking of Oktoberfest, we have the German Beer Purity Law. The first German beer purity law, or Reinheitsgebot, was promulgated in Munich by Albert IV, Duke of Bavaria, stating beer should be brewed from only 3 ingredients. Walter... Why are we making beer with Walter? No, water, malt, and hops. God, I try to combine the water and the malts like right out of the chute and make a Walter. No, water, malt, and hops. What is wrong with my brain today? Oh goodness. But yeah, like so. Yeah, beer, delicious. 1523, Amsterdam banned the Assembly of Heretics. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. Nobody likes heretics. So, you know, especially Space Marines. God Emperor save you if you're around them and you get figured out to be a heretic. Oh boy. 1554, England reconciled with Pope Julius III. What was going on with that? That wasn't around the same time as Pope Julius III? Okay. Well, it's not telling me England reconciles with Pope Julius III, but that's just, that's just gonna tell me exactly what I was just reading. So, the Order of Melchizedek, what? Huh. If anybody knows more about this or wants to figure it out, tell us your findings or your knowledge in the comment section below. We got to move on up here. 1630, 16,000 inhabitants of Venice died this month of the plague. And let's not forget, the bubonic plague came from, it started in China, as did the Spanish flu, as did the majority of other pandemics that have ravaged the world. 1678, Roman Catholics banned from English Parliament. Well, that's not nice. Well, I guess that was, yeah, that's what I was thinking. The Church of England. Like about this whole reconciliation here earlier. Does that have anything to do with the Church of England? But obviously this has to have something to do with that. Roman Catholics banned from the English Parliament. Yep. What else do we got here? The year 1700, Utrecht, Overijssel, Buren, Leerdam, and Ilgilstein went on the Gregorian calendar. Alright. In 1731, Beijing was hit by an earthquake. About 100,000 people died. Yikes. Because of bad construction and all that. I mean, they weren't building to withstand earthquakes back in those days. They barely do that today. So, and they did pack into themselves like sardines. A lot of cultures live stacked on top of each other like that. So it causes deaths like this. Really sad. 1735, States of Holland forbade Freemasonry. Ooh, that's pretty interesting. So, no more Freemasons. So I guess that's when they became the Illuminati, right there. 1747, Dutch state of Zeeland declared governmentship hereditary for women. What does that mean? Governmentship hereditary for women. Does that mean that women have just as much right in government positions as men? Because if so, I believe that. I 100% support that. That's just a really weird way to say that. Robert Clive. Huh. Okay, well that's India. Okay. Well, Zealand, so it might be in India. I don't know. Once again, if anybody can figure out more about this, please let us know in the comment section. 1753, Benjamin Franklin received the Godfrey Complete Medal on account of his curious experiments and observations on electricity. Yeah, let's not forget, he, as I believe, I'm not sure if it's folk or if it's documented fact, that he discovered that lightning is in fact electricity via utilizing a kite with a key strung to it. In hopes of attracting the electricity to the metal, because we knew about magnetism, we knew about attractions, we just didn't know exactly what lightning was made of, and he figured it out. Thankfully not dying in the process. That would have been awful. 1782, Britain signed an agreement recognizing U.S. independence. That is massive, and I'm not surprised that this leftist source here does not even, they have it listed, so that's surprising. Unsurprising that it's not, in a black box like this highlighted, because that's pretty big. That's the people we were fighting against for our independence, agreeing about our independence, and with the U.S., in its power it is on a global scale. This deserves a higher spot of visual representation. But anyway. 1786, Grand Duke of Tuscany, Leopold III, promulgated a penal reform, making his the first state to abolish the death penalty. Kinda, sort of. November 30th, commemorated as Cities for Life Day. The death penalty is a interesting topic because there have been countless examples of people sentenced to all sorts of things, for all sorts of things, having actually had been innocent all along. So... And there are actual examples of people post-mortem having been figured out to being innocent of the crime they were executed for. So, shit happens, as it's said. So, the death penalty is, I don't know. Now, if there's if there's 30 witnesses and recordings and it's obvious, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that everybody can everybody his face. Stuff like that. If it's that level of obviousness, okay, yeah, put him into the electric chair. But with a few scraps of DNA evidence and whatnot, I mean, that could be faked easily. Anyway, 1803. This is pretty interesting. Spain ceded her claims to Louisiana territory to France. Is I having a stroke right there? What's going on? But that's really interesting because, of course, as we know, France later sold those areas, the Louisiana Purchase, to the United States, and upon that happening, sparked the Lewis and Clark expeditions to go and map out and explore all this newly acquired land. And of course, France sold that land because they really couldn't, feasibly, enforce claims to that with all of the Napoleonic Wars going on at the time. We could have just gone in and taken it, and there's nothing that they could have really done. But we were nice about it, and they were cool about selling us the land. It was beneficial to everybody. We worked together, and that's the point. Working together. If there's a problem, okay. Figuring out there's a problem is the first step. Now, instead of bitching about it, work with me to figure out a solution. That's the way we do things. That's the way it's supposed to work. Anyway. 1824, first ground was broken at Allenburg for the building of the original Welland Canal. Where is the Welland Canal? That's interesting. I never heard of the Welland Canal before now, but like, okay, oh, the Niagara Falls one, okay. Niagara Falls, which reminds me, I'm going to add that to the peanut. Niagara Falls car crash craziness. I want to talk about that on the peanut. Anyway, what else do we have here? 1829, first Welland Canal opened for a trial run. 5 years to the day from the groundbreaking. Yeah, that is true. 5 years to the day. Alright. 1838, Mexico declared war on France. What? When did? Why? Like, where did, right here? It's right there. So, like, 1838, Mexico declared the pastry war. What? Huh. And my voice is cracking really badly. I need water. The Pastry War, also known as the First French Intervention in Mexico or the First Franco-Mexican War, began November 1838 with a naval blockade of some Mexican ports and the capture of the fortress of San Juan de Ulua in the port of Veracruz by French forces sent by King Louis Philippe I. Wow, I had no idea that this was a thing. The Pastry War. Okay, well, let me add that in here. Mexican-French War. Oh, yeah. Freaking, my nose is itching really badly. So that's it. No, don't do that. That's really interesting. I did not know that they had a war. The more you know. As some people would say. 1854, rebellion of miners at Eureka Stockade at Ballarat in Victoria, who swore allegiance to the Southern Cross flag, angry at the colonial government, landmark event in Australian labor relations. 1861, Harper's Weekly published E. Beers' All Quiet Along the Potomac. And that has got to be something to do with the Civil War, the Potomac River being the border. I mean, like, Virginia, right across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C., the capital of the Union, now being in Confederate territory. Our capital is right there on their border. That is the last thing you want in any Sid Meier Civilization game. And we actually went through it and prevailed. We got lucky. Oh. Anyway. 1864, Battle of Franklin, Tennessee. Confederate attack fails, 7,700 casualties. And that is dead, wounded, injured, and all that stuff. 1866, work began on the first U.S. underwater highway tunnel in Chicago. All right. 1872, first international soccer game. Scotland drew with England 0-0 in Glasgow. Huh. They actually made a little emote here. It's Kirby! It shocked Kirby! I just realized that. Look at that, it shocked Kirby. He's like, what? 1876, archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann found the gold mask of Agamemnon at Mycenae, which is modern Greece, the Mona Lisa of prehistory. They believe this was his burial mask or some mask about the ancient king of Agamemnon, who, of course, was a mythical figure because up until, I'm using the term loosely, recent times. Like, when did it was discovered that, what was it? Why can't I remember it? Troy was a real place, the Trojan War, leading up to the Exodus. The Odyssey. Sorry, I keep forgetting things. My brain is not brain well anymore, brain. Leading up to Odysseus and the Odyssey and all that whatnot. But the Trojan War, high probability that it actually happened. you know? So, anyway, 1886, we have the first commercially successful AC electric power plant opens, alternating current, in Buffalo, New York. Alright, look at that. And that's not too far from, let's see, Buffalo, New York. Is it like, how far away is it from Niagara Falls? It's probably a ways, I'm not sure. Oh, not that far. Okay. So it's just down the river, okay. Alright. What else do we got here? 1887, first indoor softball game in Chicago. Now that begs the question, when was the first indoor softball game ever? When was the first indoor softball game ever? Thanksgiving Day in 1887, so this might have been it. It's still November, you know? It took place at the Fairground Boat Club at a gathering to hear the outcome of the Yale University and Harvard University football game. Interesting. I think this might be the same one. It's held in the same place, same year. Thanksgiving Day, you know. Hold on a second. Thanksgiving Day, 1887 dates. Let's look that up here. Open up a new one. Thanksgiving Day, 1887. It was the 24th day of November. Okay, so it wasn't. So we potentially have another historical discrepancy here by days now. So, that's interesting. Well, if anybody can figure out the exact time, you know, comment section, please. Thank you. Anyway, 1900, a German engineer patented front-wheel drive for automobiles. Pretty sure a lot of people groaned at that. I did. You know, like, when I first read that, I'm like, oh, front-wheel drive, yuck. 1900 as well, the first Irishman... The first Ishman Canal Commission, appointed by the President, having examined possible routes for a canal, issued its report favoring that through Nicaragua over the Panama route. Huh. Oh, okay. Irishman Canal. I mean, the only canal an Irishman would be involved with is a whiskey canal. Am I right? Haggis. 1902, during the U.S. American Old West, second in command of Butch Cassidy's Wild Bunch gang, Kid Curry Logan, was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment with hard labor. Yikes. In 1907, Pike Place Market was dedicated in Seattle. I have been there, actually. I've seen the fishmongers throwing their fish. I've been to the very first Starbucks. Although in today's world, that's probably pretty not something to be proudly proclaiming anymore. But yeah, I've been inside the very first Starbucks. I remember getting an Americana, drinking about a third of it, ending up in a brewery with some friends, getting some whiskey and having an Irish coffee for the rest of the thing. And I even got my dad a coffee cup, you know, that they only sell at that one, you know, the very first Starbucks. It's still around, small as hell, you know. And the line, I was in the line for at least an hour, but worth it. It was worth it back then. Today's world, no, not anymore. Anyway, moving on up to 1908. Where'd that accent come from? The U.S. Secretary of State and Japan's ambassador to the U.S. exchanged notes in what became known as the Root Takahira Agreement. They affirmed support for an independent China with an open door policy and for the status quo in the Pacific. Wow. I did not know this. If it wasn't for Japan, China probably would have been under Japanese control before Chiang Kai-shek, before Mao Zedong, you know, like, before any of that, you know, none of that would have even happened. Like, because, you know, sure as shit, you know, Mao Zedong against Japan, Mao wouldn't win. Nah. So, back in those times, I mean, hell, you know, they were losing. Well, no, actually, we weren't fighting with Mao, we were fighting with Chiang Kai-shek, who was also fighting with Mao at the same time. Everybody was fighting a two-front war. Germany was fighting the Allies, and then eventually Russia, or the Soviet Union. Japan was fighting us and the Soviet Union since the start. Japan was fighting China at the very beginning. China was fighting Japan and Communist China. Everybody was fighting a two-front war. That's kind of bizarre. Huh. Never thought about that. Anyway, moving on up to 1909, British House of Lords rejected David Lloyd George's People's Budget, which tried to shift tax burden to the wealthy, led to the Parliament Act, intent to stop unelected House overruling will of the elected House. Okay. Oh, intent to stop unelected House overruling the will of the elected. So, okay. But see, like, these wealthy people, they're wealthy because the majority of their wealth is in offshore accounts and whatnot. Like, what little they give in taxes, people think they pay their fair share, but they really don't. You know, like, most of their wealth is unaccounted for, undocumented, and very illegal. But they're just allowed to get away with that because they're wealthy. So, you know. Anyway, 1916, Costa Rica became a signatory to the Buenos Aires Copyright Treaty. And let's look this up, the Buenos Aires Copyright Treaty, if anybody wants to figure out a little bit more about that. Alright, also known as the Third Pan-American Convention, it's an international copyright treaty signed in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on August 11th, 1910, providing mutual recognition of copyrights where the work carries a notice containing a statement of reservation of rights. So for further reading on this subject matter, let's see here. Buenos IRES copyright treaty. Add that in. Alright. What else do we got here? 1922, the first speed test of the first genuine Japanese aircraft carrier, Hosho. Oh, the Hosho Fosho. I love playing the Hosho in World of Warships. Hosho. Hosho. It was a fun carrier to play. Let's see here. Yeah. These are not the carrier. This guy here. Hold on a second. Warships. There we go. Let me bigger this if I can. No, give me a big image. Come on. There we go. Yeah, the very first aircraft carriers, they just like took a normal boat and just slapped a flight deck on the top of it. There was no conning tower. There was no anything. It was just a deck. That's it. Maybe like, a flagpole here, but like the smoke comes off the side. Let's see if I can find a better picture of this. Well, you can see it here. The smoke is coming out the side this way. So, as opposed to, like, yeah, you can see this is on our side of the deck. So, really interesting stuff. What else do we got here? 1922, Adolf Hitler spoke to 50,000 National Socialists in Munich, Germany. Yikes. Well, yeah, one of his big speeches then. 1924, the first photo facsimile transmitted across Atlantic by radio, London to New York City. Now, to those who do not know, facsimile means fax, a fax machine. The first photograph wirelessly transmitted through radio waves, as a fax, to be printed out from one side of the world to another in 1924. Like, why are we amazed at that technology in today's world? It happened. Like, why are we being held back so much as society that we can look back at almost, it's 99 years ago, almost 100 years ago. Like, actually, wow. What's his face, as I talked about at the beginning of the show, Henry Kissinger was already 1 year old when this happened. Wow. Wow. Anyway, 1928, Vladimir K. Zworykin received a patent on iconoscope TV system. Alright. Iconoscope TV system. Let's look that up here really quick. What does that mean? Copy, paste. Okay, iconoscope. The first practical video camera tube to be used in early television cameras. Alright. So I'm going to add this. Iconoscope TV. Hyphen. Alright. What else we got? 1933, CCC camps are established in Cleveland Park District. What does that mean? What is a CCC camp? Civilian Conservation Corps. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So, oops. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Copy. Is CCC. Okay. We also have 1936, London's Crystal Palace, built in 1851, was destroyed by fire. That is unfortunate. London's Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace. Let's see what that looked like if we can... Ooh, oh man! Oh, that is beautiful! And we lost that. Man, dude, look at the interior shot of this. This is gorgeous. Wow. You know, I'm starting to believe that this fire was intentional because we don't have shit like this in today's world ever, at all, anywhere. This is just remarkable. You know, those Roman-style bats we had in San Francisco that got destroyed in the natural disaster as well. You know, this is, oh man, that is breathtaking to look at. Oh man, there's a picture of it looking like it's on fire. Yikes. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's after the fire. Is it still around? London's Crystal Palace. Like, destroyed. No, it was destroyed. Is there a map? Like, does it still exist here? No, it doesn't. Okay. Oh well. Anyway, moving on up to 1938, fascist coup in Romania fell. Thank God. 1938, Germany banned Jews being lawyers. That sucks. That's, yeah, that's awful. That's also, yeah, I'm not going to say what I want to say. But yeah. Anyway, that's, you know, I'm not for the banning of anybody from anything, but, like, it's just, yeah. Anyway, 1939, Carl Gustav Emil Mannerheim appointed Commander-in-Chief of all Finnish armed services as Soviet forces invade. That is a hell of a position to be put into. It's like, hey, we're under attack. Here, you're in charge of the counteroffensive. Oh, what? Excuse me? Oh, crap. 1939, the USSR invaded Finland, bombed Helsinki. Didn't we talk about yesterday? Was it 1938 or 1939 when the USSR cut off diplomatic relations with Finland? Let me look that up here actually really quick. So events. Let me go back to yesterday, 1939, right? Or not? Yeah, 1950, 1930. Yeah, 1930. Where are you? Oh yeah, 1939. USSR drops diplomatic relations with Finland 1 day prior to invading and bombing them. Well, I mean, they got a warning. 1941, 101-year-old Nyack Tarrytown in New York ferry made its last run. Aw, man. 1942, U-boats sunk and damaged 142 Allied ships this month. Total of 877,774 tons of supplies lost. So, let's see here. Do they have a picture of this boat? 100-year-old Nyack Tarrytown images. Oh, this. Okay, so just ferry boat. Alright, cool. 1944, the biggest and last British battleship, the HMS Vanguard, was launched. Let's take a look at this boat. Speaking of naval vessels and whatnot. Ooh. And that's sitting next to something else. So this was the last British battleship. Interesting. I mean, you know, with aircraft carriers, you know, starting to really, you know, show, you know, their stuff, what they can do, changing warfare entirely all over the fronts. Like, 1947, a day after UN decree for Israel, Jewish settlements were attacked. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? You know, you're shoehorning people into an area of another people who already don't like them, and now you're telling them that their land is no longer theirs? What did you think was going to happen? Hello? Like, 1948, baseball's, this word, league, National League, disbanded. Alright, and probably, hopefully getting, you know, rounded up with everything else, you know, desegregating everything. When was baseball desegregation? When was baseball desegregation? 1947. So yeah, this is 1 year after. So with desegregation, they no longer need to be split in their own little league. They can, we can all work together. Awesome. 1948 as well, Soviets set up a separate municipal government in East Berlin. Yep, they did that. 1949, Chinese communists, wow, I'm way beyond this, actually. 1949, Chinese communists captured Chongqing. In 1950, U.S. President Harry Truman threatened China with an atom bomb. You know, well, with how the world is today, you know, I kind of wish he'd put his money where his mouth is and we had listened to Douglas MacArthur a little bit more. But, you know, that's just me. Like, instead, we went with Richard Tricky Dick Nixon. Good old, I am not a crook. You know? And look at where that led us. You know, look at where, you know, tolerance and acceptance of a government that does not tolerate or accept us. Look at where that leads to. You know? Anyway, 1953, French parachutists under Colonel D. Castries attacked Dien Bien Phu. What? One singular parachutist? Like, what? What's going on here? French Battle of Dien Bien Phu. Alright. Well, I'm not going to read through all this to figure out exactly what this means, so one parachute. Alright. If I'm wrong, maybe I'm most likely wrong, because, you know, I don't know everything. Nobody does. 1954, Ann Hodges was bruised by a meteor at Sylacauga, Alabama, in the first modern instance of a meteorite striking a human. That is rather rare. Doesn't happen. How many times have people been struck by meteorites? Only one person in recorded history has been directly hit by a meteorite. Good old Ann Hodges, right here. Alright, so it's a one and done right now. She is a struck by space. Or as Markiplier would say, 100% chance of dying by a death by space from his Space is Cool music remix. 1956, first use of videotape on TV, Douglas Edwards in the news. Huh. Alright. While that was going on, at 21 years, 10 months, 3 weeks, and 5 days, Floyd Patterson became the youngest world heavyweight boxing champion, knocking out Archie Moore in the 5th round in Chicago, first Olympic gold medalist to win a professional heavyweight title. Wow. Young man. Floyd Patterson, the boxing cowboy. We also have in 1956, Gert Fredriksson of Sweden won his second straight K1 10,000 meter canoeing gold medal at the Melbourne Olympics. Crikey! Last time event was held in the Summer Olympics, also won third consecutive K1 1,000 meter gold. Alright. While that was happening as well, Milt Campbell set Olympic record total of 7,937 points to upset fellow U.S. and world record holder Rafer Johnson and win the decathlon gold medal at the Melbourne Games. Alright. 1 year later, you know, we have President Sukarno here. An assassination attempt on Indonesian President Sukarno resulted in 8 others being killed. But Sukarno, who was the first president of Indonesia, did not die. Although, was he later? He died of kidney failure later in 1970, and this was 57, so he lived on for another 13 years. While under house arrest, though, so he did something bad. Anyway, 1958, we have the first U.S. guided missile destroyer launched, the Dewey at Bath Iron Works, Maine. Which kind of reminds me of a subject I've been wanting to talk to the past couple of weeks during the Peanuts. Did you know Texas Instruments, the calculator company, helped innovate and design and essentially invent the guidance, the laser guidance missile bomb system type stuff? They still work with the U.S. Armed Forces, you know, as a contractor to this day. Texas Instruments, you know, it's just wild. What else do we got here? 1959, Joe Foss named first commissioner of AFL. All right. 1960, French Senate condemns building own nuclear weapons, although I believe they are a nuclear power. Is France a nuclear power? France has 56 operable nuclear reactors with a total capacity of 61 gigawatts, but does France have the bomb? Does France have the bomb? I'm pretty sure they do. France is one of 5 nuclear weapon states under the Treaty of Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, but is not known to possess or develop any chemical or biological weapons. France is the only member of the European Union to possess independent non-NATO nuclear weapons. Well, look at that. France and weapons of mass destruction. That's interesting. Huh. That's a very interesting title. France, WMDs. Maybe it's time we go over there and give them some freedom. You know, I'm not sure. Oh, that's right. They don't have oil. Okay. Yeah, that's why. But yeah. And let's not forget, you know, Israel is also a nuclear ready nation. They have nukes. So, 1961, USSR vetoed Kuwait's application for UN membership. Huh. Okay. Huh. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the USSR. Oh, I got them confused with the UN or something. It's like that's weird for the UN to do, you know. But no, that's Soviet Russia. Of course, they would veto that. The Soviets want to own Kuwait. They don't want Kuwait to be a member state. They want to be a member state of themselves. And speaking of the Soviet Union, 1964, they launched Zond 2 towards Mars, but no data was returned. So maybe a crash landing or something. 2 years later, 1966, Barbados gained independence from Great Britain. This is their national day. All right, Barbados. Awesome. 1967, British troops left Aden and the rest of the Federation of South Arabia, the FSA, ending British colonial rule. National Liberation Front, the NLF, assumed power and renamed the state as the People's Republic of South Yemen. That is a very concerning title right there. People's Republic. Is it really? Is it? Yeah, sure. Okay. What else do we got here in 1967? Kiaria Island ceded by Britain to Oman. And I'm not too fond of that because, I mean, you know, obviously British, you know, ruled them, but they should have given Kiaria, well, maybe they did give them the votes if they wanted to be independent or if they wanted to be part of Oman. I'm not entirely sure. Let's do a surface level scratch of that potential rabbit hole. All right. Well, I'll just give you guys this to let us know. We had a news article here for South Yemen defying British picks island chief. Huh. Okay, so let's see here. What was it? Oman. Kiaria. All right. What else do we got here? Just get rid of that. Okay. 1967 as well, the Pakistan People's Party was founded by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who became its first chairman later as the head of state and head of government after the 1971 Civil War. That was 4 years later. So, a lot to unpack in that one sentence. And once again, the People's Party, is it really for the people? Is it really? Is it really? Is it really? Yeah, sure. 1968, a Northern Ireland Civil Rights Association march in Armagh was stopped by Royal Ulster Constabulary because of the presence of a loyalist counter-demonstration led by Ian Paisley and Ronald Bunting. Alright, that troubles and whatnot. So, 1969, U.S. singer-songwriter Neil Diamond made his only appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show singing Sweet Caroline, bop, 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 and Holly Holy. Alright. While that was going on, the CFL Grey Cup Auto Stade Montreal Ottawa Rough Riders defeated the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. The Rough Riders versus the Ride Roughers. You know, when everybody picks the same character in Smash Brothers, so you all have different colors. The 29-11, the first Grey Cup game played in its entirety on a Sunday. Oh, that's interesting, on Lord's Day. 1971, the government of the Republic of Ireland stated that it will take the allegations of brutality against the security forces in Northern Ireland to the European Court of Human Rights. And this is not the article here, this is the article. So, yeah, more trouble stuff going on. 1972, BBC bans Wings High High High. What is that? That kind of reminds me, I feel fantastic, hey, hey, hey. When the BBC banned Paul McCartney's Hi Hi Hi. Oh, what the hell? What is going on here? Alright, well, you know, I'm not going to read that live on air, so BBC banned Hi. So do that. Pretty sure, pardon me, pretty sure our resident Beatles nut, Creek Alley, can tell me a thing or two about this, if he knows about this. This is pretty, I never heard about this. Then again, I don't really follow everything Beatles like he does, so. 1972 as well, an illegal fireworks factory exploded, killing 15 people in Rome, Italy. Yikes. Illegal fireworks in Rome. That's interesting, okay. You think that'd be like, in China or along, the U.S.-Mexico border or something. I mean, there's illegal everything all over the place. That's just that just kind of caught me off guard. 1974, 20th time Islanders were shut out 3-0 versus the Canucks. Wow, even the Canucks defeated them. The Islanders, wow, you guys got to get better. 1975, Dahomey renamed the People's Republic of Benin. Okay. And all in all, you're all just another brick in the wall. Pink Floyd's The Wall in 1979 released, sold 6 million copies in 2 weeks. And yeah, I have a CD version of that album. Great album. And so is what were the other albums? Why can't I remember? Dark Side of the Moon is Pink Floyd as well, right? That's a known album as well. 1981, during the Cold War in Geneva, representatives from the United States and the Soviet Union began to negotiate intermediate-range nuclear weapons reductions in Europe. The meetings ended inconclusively on December 17th. That's a yikes. Kind of reminds me of Doctor Strangelove in a way. 1982, Gandhi, directed by Richard Attenborough and starring Ben Kingsley and John Gielgud, premiered in New Delhi, later to receive the Best Picture in 1983. I have got to watch that. So Gandhi, 1982, Gandhi. 1982, Gandhi. I'm not tell you that. Let me add that into, I'm going to add that into Inosh. I have got to watch that. So, and what was that other Disney Mao Zedong film? Not Zedong. It's not Mao Zedong. Kundun. Is that? Yeah, that's it. Kundun. I gotta watch that too. So, all right. Anyway, we also have 1982 Thriller. The sixth studio album by Michael Jackson was released. Later received the Grammy Award Album of the Year in 1984, best-selling album of all time, Billboard Album of the Year in 1983. Yeah, that was a biggie. That was a big one right there. While that was going on as well, Ottumwa, Iowa declared video game capital of the world by Mayor Jerry Parker. And now wait a minute there, bub. What gives you the authority? He proclaimed the claim was backed up by Iowa Governor Terry Branstad, the Atari Video Game Company, and the Amusement Game Manufacturers Association in a ceremony at Twin Galaxies in Ottumwa in early 1983. Okay, I'll back off. I stand corrected. I'm sorry. So I didn't know. So apparently some bodunk town in Iowa, of all places, Iowa video game is the video game capital of the world. Okay. Alright. Coolio Pastulio. What else do we got here in 1982? Can we get out of 1982? We will here in a minute. U.S. submarine Thomas Edison collided with U.S. Navy destroyer in South China Sea. Wow. Thomas Edison just can't even beyond the grave. He has to go fuck shit up, doesn't he? 1983, Denver Nuggets coach Doug Moe, hopelessly behind, advised team to let Blazers break their scoring record. I mean, that's gentlemanly. Although it wouldn't be pardon me, I gotta drink some coffee after this. It wouldn't be an authentic record because they're just kind of handing it to him at this point upon that, revelation. 1983 as well, police freed kidnapped beer magnate Alfred Heineken in Amsterdam. Whoa, what was going on? One of the Heinekens of the Heineken Beer Company? They are released on a ransom of 35 million Dutch guilders or 81.74 million US dollars in 2023 terms. On 30th of November of that year, the kidnappers Cor van Hout, Willem Hollander, Jan Bolliard, Franz Meischer, and Martin Erks were all eventually caught and served prison terms. Good. So, yep. Yikes, though. See here. Heineken kidnapped. So let's put that in there. So, alright. What else do we got here? 1983, Radio Shack announced the Tandy Model 2000 computer with the 80,186 chip. What does a Tandy Model 2000 computer look like? Let's see here. Oh, okay, that one. Oh, wow, they have the little floppy disks. Two disk drives. Whoa, we got a badass over here. Look at that. So, actually, I believe you had to run 2 disk drives. You had to run a disk drive just for the operating system habitually. It wasn't something that was built in. The entirety of the computer was just to run this stuff. You needed a separate disk just to boot up the OS, and then you needed yet another disk, so that your second disk, to run a program on said OS, operating system. Computing back then, and that was all back, with prompts like run commands, on MS-DOS or something like that, which is still how hackers really work today. That's really the nuts and bolts and guts of a computer. So, 1986, U.S.-based Czech tennis star Ivan Lendl was the first player to make over $10 million in career earnings. All right, that's pretty cool. 1987, Afghanistan's constitution was Afghanistan's constitution was adopted. All right. 1988, Kohlberg Cavis Roberts and Company bought RGR Nabisco for $25.07 billion US dollars. Wow. Kohlberg Kravis Roberts and Company. What, Kohl's? Is that what that is? KIR and Company Inc., also known as Kohlberg Travis Roberts and Company, is a U.S. global investment company that manages multiple alternative asset classes, including private equity, energy, infrastructure, real estate, credit, and through its strategic partners, hedge funds. That sounds pretty World Economic Forum terrifying right there. So, yeah, let me add this in the underbar. So, KKR. I was just watching another streamer just last night talking about all this stuff, and, now I'm paying a little bit more attention to, historical events like this. Yikes, Nabisco, guys, Nabisco. The cookies, and the cheeses, and the crackers, and the snacks, and all that stuff. 1988 as well, New York City Furrier sued Mike Tyson for $92,000 for non-payment of purchase. Yep, that happened. And we also have the Soviets stopped jamming Radio Liberty, the first time in 38 years. Oh, those silly Soviets with their radio jamming. Like, we've been jammed. Raspberry. There's only one person who will give me raspberry. Lone Star. That's how you jam people. 1988 as well, UN General Assembly 151-2 censored U.S. for refusing PLO's Arafat visa. Okay, that's not cool. It's never cool to censor anything. So why are we censoring the U.S., for doing what they believe is right? I mean, it's going against Palestine. Isn't that what everybody wants? Against Palestine? That seems to be the narrative, being pushed since the beginning. So, I don't know. Anyway, 1991, 93 cars and 11 truck accident near San Fran during a dust storm causing the deaths of 17. Holy crap. Oh, we went from like a 100-car pileup killing, 2 people a couple weeks ago or something, reporting on that, to now even further into winter, a dust storm in California. So there you go. More people died. Yikes. And this was more than 100 cars, so 93 cars and 11 trucks. Yikes. We also have 1991, Rob Pilatus at the age of 21 of Milli Vanilli attempted self-deletion. That is really sad. And I really hope they're okay. Are they still around? Rob Pilatus. I'm going to look him up. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. Rob Pilatus. Are they still around? Oh, no, they're not. Oh, damn. Oh, well. Well, at least they lived on a little bit past this. And it's really sad, to read things like this, because, people are hurting. People out there are hurting, and we need more empathy out there in the world. We really do. As it was said, by, I believe it was a Swami or something, like, or not a swami, a guru. Just, I don't know. Like, if at least 2%, or not even 0.10%, or like if like 2% of the world started meditating, started just calming down, and finding their inner peace, then the energy of the world would drastically change on a significant level. Just that little difference is all it needs, Anyway, 1991, San Diego State's Marshall Farouk was the first freshman to capture national rushing and scoring titles. Okay. 1993, Schindler's List, a U.S. historical drama film directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Liam Neeson, Ben Kingsley, and Ralph Fiennes, premiered in Washington, D.C. Academy Awards Best Picture in 1994. And that is another movie I have got to watch. So I'm going to add that in. Let me let's see. Schindler's List, 1993. So move this over here. Give me that link. Get rid of that tab. Put that in here, and continue on with the show. 1993, President Clinton signed the Brady gun control bill, and I know a little bit about this, but let's look this up. Whenever these two words are together in this order, red alert, red alert, red alert. It imposed as an interim measure as waiting period of 5 days before a licensed importer, manufacturer, or dealer may sell, deliver, or transfer a handgun in an unlicensed individual. Okay, I can agree with that. Like, there needs to be background checks. We need to make sure, because it is a tool, but it is the most efficient tool to be used in doing nasty things. Before the invention of guns, we were going around, with swords and knives and all that stuff. So where's our... Actually, I'm not even going to say that, because they do have, sword and knife control in Britain, at least. You have to have a permit to buy a freaking butter knife for your kitchen nowadays. I think literally. I'm not sure how much I'm exaggerating, if at all, in that manner. But yeah, so let me bring this up here from the ATF itself. So... Brady Bill. Let's add that. Alright. What else do we got? 1994, the Beatles' first album in 25 years, live at the BBC, was released in Britain. And once again, Where Are You, Creek Alley? You would love to read this. This is your stuff, man. And to those who do not know, the Beatles released yet one last final song this year. 2023, and yes, the Beatles are still releasing stuff. What a time to be alive. 1994, Manmohan Adrikhi sworn in as first communist premier of Nepal. Watch out. 1995, official end of Operation Desert Storm. Okay. Alright, I remember that. And I was only 7 years old? No, 8. Yeah, I was 8 years old. 1998, Deutsche Bank announced a $10 billion deal to buy Bankers Trust, thus creating the largest financial institution in the world. I'm gonna put that in the winning this one here. 2 dates in history. 1998. So I just tossed that in there just because they talk about things like that. Anyway, what else do we got? 1999, British Aerospace and Marconi Electronic Systems merged to form BAE Systems, Europe's largest defense contractor and 4th largest aerospace firm in the world. Well, I'm going to post that in there as well. So, yeah. We also have in 1999, in Seattle, Washington, United States protests against the WTO meeting by anti-globalization protesters caught police unprepared and forced the cancellation of opening ceremonies. I'm debating whether or not I should add that in there as well. So, yeah. But yeah, no, we had a whole conversation in there about this. Actually, no, it wasn't BAE. It was Lockheed before they became Lockheed Martin, or maybe some other system. We were talking about Skunkworks. Anyway. What else do we got here? In 2004, longtime Jeopardy champion Ken Jennings of Salt Lake City, Utah, finally lost, leaving him with a paltry amount of $2,520,700 USD, of course. Television's all-time biggest game show haul. Yeah, like, yep. Alright, 2005, John Sentamu became the first black archbishop in the Church of England with his enthronement as the 97th Archbishop of York. Not New York, but of York. Okay, that's pretty cool. 2006, U.S. folk artist Grandma Moses' 1943 painting Sugaring Off sold for a record $1.3 million for the artist by Christie's in New York. Okay, well, let's see. American folk artist Grandma Moses, 1943. You know what, let's just look this up, this whole thing here. What does that painting look like? Sugaring Off. Oh, okay, talking about snow. Okay, that kind of sugar. Okay. That's a pretty cool painting. And how much was it for? $1.3 million? If I had $1.3 million, I'd spend that on this in a heartbeat. That's very worth it. I mean, I've never seen that. Well, I have seen that kind of money. I've never actually held it, but I have seen $1 million with my own eyes, behind a lock and key, of course. But yeah, if I had that kind of money, I'd totally buy that for that. You know, that's a cool work of art right there. 2006, South Africa's Civil Union Act of 2006 legalized same-sex marriage, became the 5th country in the world and the first in Africa to do so. All right. So, you know, always a first to something, you know? So, never a reason not to do something, as long as it's beneficial, you know? 2007, I'm not even going to read her name. Presidential campaign office hostage crisis. Leland Eisenberg entered campaign office of Hillary in Rochester, New Hampshire, with suspected bomb and held 3 people hostage for 5 hours. That is an extreme yikes, and like, I don't care who you are, that is terrifying. So in this very rare situation, I kind of empathize with, I don't know, like, nobody likes to be in that situation. So that's some rough, turbulent waters right there. Tell you what. So, like, at the end of the day, we're all humans, no matter what. That doesn't mean I can't empathize with people in certain ways, you know, because this would be terrifying. You know, I don't care who you are. This would be terrifying. So, anyway, 2009, Canada began its recovery from the recession. Economic growth is at 0.4% after 14 months of economic stagnation. All right, go Canada. 2014, Australia experienced its hottest spring and second hottest November recorded. Yikes. And probably pushing a certain political agenda. So, you know, it kind of works hand in hand, coinciding with things. 2015, NBA star Kobe Bryant, the LA Lakers' Black Mamba, announced his intention to retire at the end of the season. And did he retire with a mic drop? Mamba out. You know? Couldn't have gone out a better way. You know? So, may you rest in peace. One of the all-time greats, you know, in the sport. 2015, as well, Pope Francis urged peace while visiting controversial mosque in Bangui's PK5 district in Central African Republic. Yeah, you know, like, you're going into a non-peaceful area, asking them to be peaceful just because you're there. It's probably not going to work out well for you, brother. You know, probably, I don't know how well it worked out. He's still around, so it worked out just fine, I suppose. But it's probably not the wisest decision to go into a war zone and expect them to cease fire just because of you and who you are. You know, there's more important things happening. Anyway, we also have 2016, UNESCO added the Belgian beer to its cultural heritage list. And we will be talking about something that I actually thought of bringing up, the fact that the baguette is now on that list as well. But we'll get to that here in about 3 years. 2017, the world's longest recorded rainbow lasted for 8 hours and 58 minutes in Taipei's Yangmingdinstan mountain range. And I digress, not 3 years, 4 years. I believe it was 2020 or 2021. So 4 or 5 years, I was wrong. So we're going to scroll up and see here how right or wrong I was in a minute. That is a pretty long dang rainbow, though. I tell you what. I'll tell you what, Bobby. That is the longest dang rainbow I've ever seen under God's green earth. Or above God's green earth. Oh, whatever. I don't. Whoa. 2018, 7.0 magnitude earthquake near Anchorage, Alaska. That's pretty big. 2018 as well. Marriott hotels reveal the massive data breach. 500 million guests affected in one of the largest ever company hacks. Yikes. Absolutely yikes. So let's see here. Moving on up. Okay. Okay. So okay, we're in 2019. So far I'm wrong. 2019 gun battle between suspected cartel and security forces at Villa Union City Hall, northern Mexico, killed 21. And it's still the Wild West out there, apparently. 2019 as well, on the way to the 36th in second test versus Pakistan, Australian cricket batsman Steve Smith overtook Don Bradman's run tally of 6,996 test runs. Became the fastest batsman to 7,000 in terms of innings, 126. Oh, man, put the shrimp on the barbie and bloomin' onion, mate. I don't know what I'm doing. 2020, AlphaFold's DeepMind AI program announced it had achieved scientific breakthrough by being able to predict how proteins fold into 3D shapes, 3 dimensions. That's kind of a yikes right there. 2020 as well, Australia condemned doctored photo of Australian soldier treating Afghan child, or threatening an Afghan child with a knife on Chinese officials' Twitter, marking new low in the two countries' relationship. Yeah, well, China will do whatever it takes to get what they want, much like a 2-year-old. You know, for being one of the oldest, one of the world's oldest nations, they really are acting like a toddler. You know, and they're terrible twos. 2021, Barbados became a republic, removing Queen Elizabeth II as head of state in a ceremony, with Sandra Mason sworn in as the first president, with Rihanna dedicated a national hero. Oh my goodness. What is going on in Barbados? This is very confusing. They got rid of the Queen, and the singer Rihanna is a national hero. Alright, that happened. We also have El Chapo's wife in 2021, the wife of Emma Coronel. El Chapo's wife, Emma Coronel Acipiro, was sentenced to 3 years in the U.S. for helping run her husband's drug cartel and aided his escaping from prison. All right. 2021 as well, Josephine Baker became the first black woman to be honored at Paris's Pantheon, France's highest honor. And, okay, well, you know what? I was wrong on all counts involving the baguette. We are coming up to it, but it is in 2022 because we haven't hit it yet. Yeah, look what's coming up here. 2022, just last year, artificial intelligence chatbot ChatGPT prototype released by AI lab OpenAI, able to answer complex questions, write poetry, and mimic some human emotions. Yeah, and, we've been living with living history since then for a year now. It's been officially a year. ChatGPT, guys. 1 year. And here we are. Where will we be a year from now? I shudder to think. We also have UNESCO announced new additions to its intangible cultural heritage list, including the French baguette, oral traditions of calling camels in the Middle East, and tea practices in China. Alright. And last but not least, the U.S. House Democrats elect Hakeem Jeffries as the first black House minority leader, replacing Nancy Pelosi. Normally, I wouldn't cover this, but anyone is better than that panderer right there. And yeah, I gotta add this link in the underbar section. See, Pelosi the panderer. And yeah, once you open up that link, you will be pleasantly surprised. Anyway, that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar in the description below for any and all links you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. For your dose of pacifist, actually, we are not just on Rumble and YouTube. We are also on BitChute and Odyssey, but that's only for select shows like Kicking the Peanuts and maybe a few others dictated by their centralized cryptocurrency system, which dictates how much you can and can't upload. and all that stuff, what have you. Anyway, for your dose of passive events daily, we stream every day, or try to stream every day, at 11 in the morning Pacific time, which is 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. Standard. Did I spell that correctly? Standard. Okay. Anyway, for all of you and all of us, I am Xander, and you, of course, are you. Until you catch us next time, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! Streaming.